Hey everyone, I'm Alison Gills. I hope you've been having a successful day. Today I'm bringing you a review of the kindness virus. It's one that has been floating around in my inbox for a week or so now, and so I wanted to break down whether or not it is a wonderful, wholesome opportunity that you should be getting into, or it's a pile of old rubbish and you should delete immediately. Let's break it down. So here we are, the Kindness Virus Review 2026. All love and light or major red flags? If you're on every guru email list under the sun, as I seem to be, I think they're a guilty pleasure. Um, you just get to hear the gossip, I think, about what's going on in the online marketing community. You may have caught wind of the kindness virus. It gives the impression of being one of the nicer opportunities online at the moment. And who doesn't enjoy warm and fuzzy feelings from giving or being on the receiving end of kindness? In this case, positivity, community, earn $100 per referral, spread kindness and get paid. It sounds like love and light. But I'm not just going to be looking at the vibe. I wanted to see how the whole thing stacks up, because sometimes something can feel warm and inspiring on the surface, but be completely lacking in substance when you get underneath the hood. And as a mum who's seen more than a few of these things rise and fall, I've been in a number over the last few years before I settled on my opportunities. I'm now using a lot more critical thinking when I look at these programs. So let's break it down. What is the kindness virus? So it presents itself as a positivity based platform. For a one-time payment of $150, you gain access to 500 plus curated positivity videos and blogs, daily motivational reminders, lifetime access, and the ability to earn $100 per referral. It's positioned as a content membership and a business opportunity. Now, in any proper review, my first question should be a practical one. Would people pay $150 for this content if there were no referral commission attached? In my view, it should be really important to marketers that the product can stand independently. Is this worth $150 if you've got no intention of marketing it? I can wholeheartedly say that in the case of Quicksilver Wealth Accelerated and the Home Business Academy, my opportunities, the answer is yes. You get the value of your investment from its core products. And I do have reviews on those. If you are browsing around my blog, take a look. And there are a couple of links here. So back to the kindness virus itself. There's absolutely no shortage of motivational content online. YouTube is full of it. TikTok's full of it, podcasts are full of it. So my inner cynic tried not to roll her eyes too hard at the idea of sharing kindness blogs. Pretty sure there are a ton of those out there for free too. It's also worth bearing in mind that you can get some brilliant annual subscriptions to positivity and mindfulness apps for probably a third of this cost, ones that are science-backed and come with tons of reviews, which I can't see any evidence of for this on first glance. I'd love to hear from somebody in the programme though. If kindness content in this programme is groundbreaking and it's worth the price tag, let me know. I'll be first to say so. So, is the earning opportunity the loudest part of this offer? So, the cost, as we've discussed, pretty straightforward. One-off $150 payment, no advertised recurring monthly subscription. Sounds simple to me, but the cost is only really meaningful to me when it's paired with value. And on face value, to me, the value isn't there. Again, when you compare it to free motivational content platforms, meditation apps under $70 per year, subscription services with licensed content, it doesn't really stack up. The pricing suggests that the earning element is the central appeal, if we're honest, doesn't it? And for me, that's just a bit of a red flag. And that means we're moving away from a content platform and towards an income opportunity. And if it's only an income opportunity with some naff afterthought content at the heart of it, feels a bit like we're heading into scam territory. With that in mind, let's actually evaluate it as a business model. So the compensation plan explained. Here's how it works. Again, pretty simple. A new member pays $150. The referring member gets $100 from that, and the company retains $50. So that's a 67% payout. Generous commission structures aren't automatically a problem. The Home Business Academy has a very generous commission structure at 80% recurring income. Amazing. But the product is also pure value, in my opinion. So this does make me ask some questions about this as a one-off payment. Is this a sustainable business long term? From the $50 retained, the company would need to cover platform hosting, payment processing, ongoing maintenance, customer support, and content updates. That means the model depends heavily or almost entirely on continuous new signups. When recruitment slows, earnings slows, and when income relies primarily on bringing in new participants, the opportunity becomes momentum dependent. This can feel exciting, but it doesn't grow forever, and that then has me asking myself whether the business was ever really intended to last. Is this one just a quick cash grab? Could be, couldn't it? How are the payments processed? So, based on the checkout process, new members appear to send $100 directly to a referring affiliate using their chosen payment method, then pay a separate $50 platform fee via Stripe, and after confirmation, account access is created. However, the FAQ section also states that rewards are paid weekly and can be withdrawn via PayPal or bank transfer once added to your balance. Bit ambiguous for me. If commissions are paid peer-to-peer, they are technically immediate. If they're tracked centrally and paid weekly, though, that suggests an entirely different flow. So it isn't really clear from the public pages how these two systems interact, and I don't really like the ambiguity of it all. While peer-to-peer isn't necessarily a red flag, I think a central payment processing model gives more credibility. Who owns this platform? This is where I took a bit of time to scout around on the interwebs. I looked for a named founder, a registered company, a visible leadership team, a physical business address, and an income disclosure statement. Clear, prominent ownership information is limited or absent in this case. The domain registration is privacy protected. There isn't an obvious executive team presented publicly, certainly not as you're going to look at the joining information. Privacy online isn't inherently suspicious, but you have to admit that transparency does build trust. If a platform isn't built for long-term growth, leadership visibility usually strengthens credibility. Is built for long-term growth, sorry. When I'm sending $150 somewhere, knowing who is responsible behind the scenes is reasonable, I think. Don't we want to know who the business owner is and what their values are? Personally, I'd like to know whose pockets I'm lining and whether I'm comfortable with it or not. So is the kindness virus legit? This is everybody's main question, really, isn't it? Should have done this section at the top. Technically, you do receive access to content, which is the central promise. So it's not an empty product. But if it is just botched together so the company can say they have a product, the existence of a product alone doesn't make the business legit. It should have sustainable revenue, product demand independent of recruitment, transparent ownership, clear income reporting, and long-term viability. If most participants are just joining for the referral income rather than the content itself, recruitment is the primary driver. And this can work temporarily, but they are sensitive to growth slowdowns. The business may not immediately collapse, but the risk does increase as saturation approaches. If you're getting lots of urgent pitches in your DMs telling you to position early, you might just want to ask yourself why, so that someone with a big list can make a ton of commissions while late entrants can't flog it at all. That's what I tend to think anyway. Income disclosure. One thing that I do always look for now in any opportunity is an income disclosure. If a platform highlights earn $100 per referral, I really want to know what percentage of members actually earn, what is the average income, what's the median income. If average earnings aren't publicly visible, it becomes harder to assess realistic expectations. If you don't have this info, and then when you get in there, the kindness blogs and videos are actual total twaddle, you're going to feel like you've been done out of $150. I haven't seen the disclosure anywhere for the kindness virus, meaning that everything just comes down to hype then, in my opinion. How does this compare to other paid online platforms? Not every paid online platform is a problem. The program I'm in charges because they provide tools, education, or software with obvious value, whether you share the opportunity to anyone or not. In platforms like the Home Business Academy, you're paying for the funnel builder, which is amazing, and training systems that you can use independently. The product has practical use on its own, and I'd go so far as to say it's brilliant. The commission percentage isn't really the key difference. Key difference is, where is the money ultimately coming from? Are people buying primarily for tools or education? Therefore, the product is leading. Or are people buying primarily for the opportunity to earn from the next sign up? With the kindness virus, the earning side appears to be the main attraction. So then, if the income opportunity disappeared tomorrow, would the platform still attract paying customers? I personally have massive doubts about that. Who might this suit? To be fair, it may appeal to early adopters, experienced promoters, individuals with large audiences. You just have the gurus sending out their email to their 45,000 list subscribers. They're going to get a load of sign-ups, aren't there? There's going to be a quick grab of thousands of dollars, easy peasy. You may have people who are pretty skilled at recruiting in the DMs who will also do pretty well. But for beginners, busy parents like me, who doesn't have time to be sitting there messaging 100 people, people who are uncomfortable with recruiting friends, and anyone seeking long-term stability, I'd approach this with a lot of caution. Unless you're in early or you're an experienced recruiter, I think you're going to be out of pocket, to be honest. So my final thoughts in this review. My personal opinion, I think it stinks actually. Unless it's charitable, I actually don't want to see kindness monetized. If you truly want to spread kindness, you don't need to pay anyone $150. You need to just be kind, be authentic, be free, no recruitment quota, be a genuine person. It's that simple. There are loads of better opportunities out there that still pay a really decent commission. If you do want to get in, then each to their own. No judgment here. But let's be clear that this is a momentum-driven opportunity. I can really only see established marketers with a large audience and an existing email list making money with this. The whole sustainability of the business model depends heavily on continued recruitment. To me, the content sounds questionable. I went and had a look on Etsy, and I could get 1,000 positivity and optimism videos on Etsy for under $5. In fact, in some cases, it was like $2. So if that's all the product's really worth, and again, I'm willing to be corrected if you think otherwise, it doesn't sound that great to me. Finally, the fact that I can't access the information on the owners really makes it a bit of a no-go for me. Kindness is beautiful. Let's spread from the good in our hearts instead. And if you want to know more about my own income opportunity, how I build a team, and how I'll help you build a team, give me a shout. I'd love to talk to you. Thanks for joining me.